Welcome to the initial podcast of Tank Uncensored. Today, me and my lovely wife here, making all these funny faces, are going to talk about just some random stuff that we've come up with through the last couple weeks and just really want to get off our chest and talk about. So,
Just random stuff.
just random stuff, taking a village to raise kids 20 years ago, now your village is completely gone, or the lack of effort being made in the workforce. People don't strive for anything or anything like that.
Sounds depressing.
So
Because it is.
go ahead and tell everybody what you were telling me about with the workforce.
Oh, I just find it annoying. I do janitorial stuff and sometimes work with people who just, don't get paid enough to do that or just depends on who I'm working with. But I just see it. I see the lack of effort, and I don't think it's just that people don't make enough money to even make ends meet, and they don't feel valued. But the problem is then when you do want to do a really good job, you're you're surrounded by people who don't. You know what I mean? Like they want to do a good job, but they're just like, um, yeah, I don't get paid enough to do that, or I don't really care, And so then they're like, you're doing too much. I don't know why you bother, And it's just you get all these negative things in the workforce that like maybe your managers and stuff aren't seeing.
Yeah.
But you're not really sure they care either because they can't really be bothered. And it's in every workforce. It doesn't matter if you work in like Taco Bueno or you're a nurse. You can't talk to the higher ups and you can't talk to your fellow employees. You kind of have to keep your head down because you don't want to piss anybody off. And if you work too hard, everyone gets mad at you
Yeah.
because you're overachieving. Whose ass are you trying to kiss? And then they can fire you at the drop of a dime. And you don't even make enough to make ends meet. You have to do extra stuff. You can't just work a job and come home. Like, it really does take two people to even pay rent these days. Like, even if you have, you know, rent that's $1,000, most places you're looking at 2-3 grand. Like, how?
Yeah, it's
Even if you're
difficult.
making $20 an hour, you still can't. It's not. And then you got CNAs. I found out, I knew this because of our daughter and why she walked away from the medical field. But during COVID, she was getting paid max amount that they could pay her was $14 an hour. She was maxed out at $14 an hour as a CNA, and she was working during COVID, giving CPR to COVID patients when she, like,
Yeah.
and then it's like if you see something that's wrong and you complain about it, then you go into nurse court and nobody wants to hire you. So you have to just ignore everything that's bad because if you complain or you say, hey, this is unethical or we shouldn't be treating this person this way or whatever, if you complain and you end up in nurse court, nobody cares why.
Yeah, you
You were
get
just
blacklisted.
yeah, you get blacklisted. So it's like, you know, why should I try? It's just everywhere. It's not even
You notice it more and more here over the last 10 years that people have,
lost their drive. Like
well,
they just
yeah, they've lost their drive.
their
There's no
hope.
competitiveness in the market anymore, and people are burnt out, honestly, is what it is, because, you know, it doesn't matter how hard you work, you have to work harder. You have to do two or three people's jobs to even get recognized. And even then, you get a pizza party, you don't get a raise.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
and as you get older, it gets harder too. Nobody's really talking about that
yeah,
because nobody
jeez.
wants to hire you because you're overweight or you're you're older. You're
Yeah,
not attractive. It's like the attractive people. It doesn't matter what color you are. If you're attractive, you automatically get more attention from job
Well, if you
interviews.
walk into an interview and you have, let's say, 20 plus years of experience in a certain field, say
Oh,
welding, like me, for instance. You walk into an interview and they're asking you what you want per hour. You tell them, well, we can't afford that. Well, what can you afford? Because the job you're offering with my skill level requires this much money, especially knowing that I'm going to have to teach the younger kids how to do the
right.
job,
They always make you do you. They put you with a team of people that you're smarter than,
or that
and
you're
now
way
you,
more experienced than,
and then you have to tell them what to do all the time.
but they don't want to pay that. So, and I'm not even going to lie to you. I've gone into a couple different weld tests over my career and given them two separate weld tests. One at the base pay of, say, $17 an hour, and then one at $25 an hour, and told them that they can make the decision.
Right.
And trust me, they were miles apart.
Right.
Uh,
But you lean more on the millennial side. Millennials look at things very differently, and it's hard for me because I was the youngest in a boomer household. Like my parents were boomers, but my siblings, you know, were Gen X, like Gen X, Gen X. And so, like my sister's 8 years older than me. So I grew up, and then my grandmother was from not the silent generation, but the generation before that. Like she was in her 90s as far as I could remember, like her 80s and 90s. So she was always telling me, always work hard. Your name is on it. Anything you do represents who you are. So always do your best.
oh yeah,
And
I agree with
so
that 100%.
whether I agree to take $16 an hour or $25 an hour, see that's where I don't align with this. You don't pay me enough for that because it's like I always want to do my best. So if I agree to $16 an hour,
If you agree, that's on you.
but the problem is you have no choice at this point. You have to agree to that pay because you can't find work.
Well, I mean, I guess I could understand that, but
But I
I
always
would.
want to do my best.
I'm
And
gonna
it
do my best no
sucks
matter what,
because
but you're gonna get the
they
best
don't pay
of.
you enough to do like
You're gonna get the best of me of what $17 an hour is.
right.
I'm not gonna go out and I'm not
But they're
gonna.
always pushing that. They're always adding something.
I'm not gonna go out and I'm not gonna go do more than you expect. I'm not gonna go do $25 an hour worth of work.
But I worked at one company and the lady was like, we ran out of work. And so the boss was like, you guys can mop the floors, you can, clean the bathroom, you can organize this stuff. And she was like, you didn't hire me to do that. You hired me to answer the phones. I'm leaving. And so I'm like, she was very much a millennial. And so I don't know if that's a millennial thing, but it just seems like it. It's like you
I
didn't
wouldn't say
hire
that's a
me.
millennial thing. I'd say that's just an ignorance thing.
But
Because
at the
regardless, you're
same
getting
time, people
paid.
can't. I'm like, how are you paying rent?
Regardless, you're getting paid, whether it's sweeping floors, mopping toilets,
That's what I'm saying. Is I'll do
or
any.
doing your job.
Yeah, as long as it's not.
That's an ignorance thing. That's not a millennial thing. And I've seen older people do that.
But it is frustrating because these CEOs and stuff. It. I saw a post today. Um, that really kind of off subject. But I saw a post today and it's like you're at Walmart, right? And it says, would you like to donate $20 to this, whatever? And it's like panhandling outside the stores and panhandling inside the stores now. Because like Dollar General, any store you go to, there's like that little, would you like to donate $1? Would you like to donate $2? And it's crazy to me that a huge corporation where the CEO is making ridiculous amount of money. I don't know exactly, but I'm over here. Most people shopping at Walmart that are inside the store shopping
Penny pinching the
are
shit
penny
out of
pinching because
it.
if you are upper middle class, you are ordering your food and having that shit delivered. You are not going inside Walmart to shop unless you're just bored or you're in a hurry or something. So it's like most of the people checking out don't, and there was a whole conversation about it, on this thread, and I was just like, That is so true. It's like panhandling. To the people. Why aren't you donating that money?
Don't even get me started on panhandlers.
Oh, you can get a
when we were
panhandler license.
when we were driving by Sam's Club, and that woman and her two children were out there, and she was dressed in a very nice dress.
Right, panhandling, and then she moved,
and then she moved to Walmart like 8 miles away.
Yeah, like an hour later, we saw her again.
I was like, oh goodness gracious!
It's like she was following us.
And then every year around Christmas time, you can always count on that one lady panhandler
with the 5 kids.
With the 5 kids,
her sign says, "I have 5 kids."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every year for the last 10 years, this woman's been out there.
But she has a panhandler license. And I was like, oh, what? Somebody was telling me that a few years ago.
But at this point, I can't fault these people for going out there and holding up signs. They make more money than most people that have a 9-to-5 job.
Well, I mean, who's actually donating to these people?
Drunks. That's why they hang out by the bars.
And Walmart.
Yeah.
People who shop at Walmart.
Well, we're in the
maybe
area.
she actually, the woman we saw the other day, we saw her at Sam's and then we saw her at Walmart. Maybe she actually works for Walmart. Maybe they're doing some kind of study. Who knows?
I don't know. 20 years ago,
everything is it's funny how you used to be skeptical of things, and these days you're just like, maybe. Great people, maybe.
Roughly 20 years ago, I'll tell you the exact moment that it killed me giving money to panhandlers. Okay, growing up in South Houston, especially with my dad's friend who would take me to work with him, we would always stop underneath the Beltway 8. We would go get donuts. We would drive, and there's a stoplight underneath the Beltway because it's like 8 lanes of traffic, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he would always give money to the panhandlers out there. So that kind of carried on when I moved up here, So I would stop and I would offer these people, that money doesn't matter, just hungry, need food. So I actually stopped and got this guy McDonald's.
I already know where this is going.
Handed it to him. He said, "What's this?" I said, "It's food." He threw it back at me and said, "I wanted the money." I was like, "What? So you could go buy booze? Next time, just hold up a sign that says, 'I need booze, I'm an alcoholic.'" I'd have probably got you the alcohol.
Honestly, at this point in my life, I'd probably throw McDonald's back at somebody.
But it wasn't a mile down the road. There was another panhandler who was always there. Always there. Black dude, wore dreads, wore this nasty green trench coat. And I just happened to catch him when it was quitting time.
The early 2000s?
Yeah. Just happened to catch it right at quitting time, I guess. I don't know. But he was walking towards Mathis Brothers parking lot. I watched this man take his trench coat off, take his dread wig off, throw it in the back of a green Jaguar, get in the Jaguar and drive off. And from that point on, I have never given money to a panhandler.
Maybe it was his mom's car.
Or maybe it was his damn car and he was making a boatload of money off of it.
Oh, they did back in those days, early 2000s. I don't think
never
they make that kind of money now, but who knows?
Never again will I give a panhandler
people do
money.
People do it on social media too. Like you have it on TikTok. Watch this video until the end.
Well, yeah. I mean, if people want to donate to the cause here,
but I'm
by
like,
all means.
At least do something entertaining. They're just drinking their drink or
you want me to
picking their nose.
You want me to sponsor you? I'll throw your name out there on a podcast. I don't care. I'm cheap.
You could literally say, "Hey, watch this video to the end." Most people do, though. Most people watch videos to the end, but it's like you could do something entertaining.
But I mean, this day and age, everything's electronic.
Right.
Here we are in our 40s trying to figure out how to do podcasts.
Oh my gosh. I am so tired of learning new things. I was telling, because Caden was saying something about how Gen X seems grumpy.
Yeah.
And I was like, first of all, we've had to learn how to do things like a million times. Like we have had We have
There's
had
nothing like having your 17-year-old have to show
record,
you how to work things.
but we had record players. I had a record player when I was a kid. We had 8-track. We had cassette tapes. And this is just one aspect of our lives. This is what I was telling her. This is just one aspect of our lives. Cassette tapes. And then we had CDs. And then we had MP3 players. So it's like, you know, and that's Spotify. And we've had to learn new things over and over and over again. And I know that's part of life. But I remember when caller ID came out and I thought, my mom needed my help figuring out caller ID, like getting it all hooked up. Um, DVRs where they would record our favorite show
Yeah.
while we weren't at home. Like we've had to learn so much technology over our lives, and it's just constant. And I'm 45 years old, and I'm like, I'm tired of learning new things and not getting anywhere. Like it's like,
So I was watching this TikTok or Instagram short clip earlier, and it was this woman. She's like, I was talking to this group of kids because they came over and started talking to me, and she said, told them her age, and they were like, "You were born in the 1900s."
yep.
She's like, "Yeah, I was alive before Google." They're like, "No way." So she's like, "Was I really born before Google?" Yeah, September 4th, 1998 is when Google came out.
I thought it was like 2005.
No. September 4th, 1998.
Well, I don't think everybody was using Google. Google wasn't Google until like 2005. I don't feel like it was, we didn't have to use Google.
No, we had dictionaries.
No, I mean like there was other search engines. Yeah, but I don't remember using it in 98. You don't have to
You
share
can't
it.
see that.
Everyone can use Google. Yeah, I didn't have things to look things up. There were so many rumors and stories that went around, but we got most of our stuff from like Teen Magazine.
Jeez. I didn't get anything from Teen Magazine. I can promise you.
Magazines and newspapers, and we had to go to the library, and it's just, I don't know. And it's like the more technology we have, it's supposed to make life easier, the less in touch we are. Like it's a very lonely world. I don't think we, do you remember when we lived in the little house? I came home and everybody was on their laptops, and I was like, what is this, Wally? And we got into this argument about people being fat because they thought everybody, some of you guys thought I was saying you were fat, and I was like, no, it's the disconnect. It's like you didn't even notice I came home. But I'm like, that's where we're at now. Like people don't even, they sit at tables and they don't talk. They don't have conversations. They don't hang out. They don't get bored. Do you remember going to parties with your friends and just sitting and watching people and not saying a word, and an hour has gone by? Like we can't, and we didn't have phones.
Yeah, I miss those days.
I do too. I miss getting together with people, but now people can't even get together without getting in a fight.
Yeah.
It's just a drama all the time, drama. And then you're just fake online.
Butts.
Everybody's fake.
Keyboard warriors are my favorite. I love keyboard warriors.
Oh my gosh.
I
And
love
rage
trolling.
bait. I'm so annoyed with this whole rage bait thing. It's like everything is so negative these days, and it's like the only way you can get through to people is by posting something, or like if you are an activist or something, you have to post something to get people mad, to get your algorithm up, you know?
You know, it's funny. I can walk into a room and piss people off.
Well, you need to get on TikTok and Facebook. You need to start making posts.
We will be doing TikTok lives.
But then you got to be careful because you got all these people out here that are like doxing people and trying to ruin their job life. But I'm like,
crystal clear and fine with me. I don't really care.
You don't have the best job life anyway.
I'm a welder. I work months at a time before they discover, oh, we're going to have to pay them insurance.
They lay off people. They don't care about you. You're just a workhorse.
Yep, 40-year-old workhorse. It's been.
And now they want the younger guys that can't weld because they can fit places. So.
Yeah, these younger kids. Well, and
I'm having a hard time. I'm having joint pain. I'm 45. I'm having joint pain. I'm having a hard time bending over. And everything I've ever done has been labor.
Yeah, tell me about it. I'm 40 years old, getting ready to go see a knee surgeon.
And we're Gen X. We're never going to see Social Security. And even if we do, Social Security isn't enough to pay rent.
Yeah, don't even get me started on
Like,
Social
we won't be
Security.
able to pay bills. I'm going to be working till I'm dead. And nobody's going to take care of me.
Work is going to kill me, so I guess I'll be working till I'm dead too.
I'm like, dude.
You know,
I see these little old ladies
growing
working
up,
at like Dollar Tree, and it just breaks my heart.
growing up, it was always gotta bulk up for football, gotta bulk up for football, clear your plate. You're a big, strong, growing boy. That's all good and well till they beat that pattern into your head, and then you continue to eat that way even after you're done being athletic. And then they start talking shit and making fun of you, calling you fat, and that's your own family.
Right. That's and
And
then
then
you
you're
can't.
suffering from knee problems, back problems, health problems,
That's
you
all.
know.
That's all anybody can do now is like,
And I fully expect people, especially on TikTok, when we start doing lives on TikTok, to come at me for my weight.
dude, you are handsome.
And I fully expect it though. I've come to grips with
I got
life.
this extra chin, honey. I'm fat too.
I've got this extra chin covered by
Men
this
can get away
beautiful
with it though.
beard.
Men can get away with it.
But, it doesn't hurt my feelings anymore. It hurts my feelings when my family says it, but when complete strangers, that doesn't bother me. Because
Well,
sticks
and
and stones may
it's
break my
annoying when it
bones.
hinders you.
Yeah, it does hinder me. And I'm trying to fix that.
And I feel the same way too. Like, I feel like the prettier girls always get the job, or they get the raise, or they get the respect. It's like if I say something, you know, if I say the same damn thing that they said, it won't get heard.
Yeah, I think mainly my problem is I don't put up with anybody's shit.
Oh, I don't either. I mean,
No,
that's what
I'm
I'm
talking like
feisty.
bosses and
That's what
shit. I've been fired from a
I have
job.
been called feisty by like
I have
three
been
of.
fired from a job and told them, no, you can't fire me, and went back to work. And I kept that job for 3 more years. So
Yeah, because they're scared of you.
he threw a wrench at me and I threw one back. He's like, "You're fired." I'm
That would
like,
never
"No, I'm
happen in a
not."
woman's world. That
That
would
was
never happen to me. I'd be like,
that was when we first got married.
oh my gosh. Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
He tried to fire you?
He tried to fire me several times.
Are you on a new hire list?
No,
You should go reapply there. Are they even in
I
business?
they are running skeleton crews still. Since 2008, they've been running skeleton crew.
See, I told you guys we were going to talk about anything and everything. Just random stuff.
It's just the craziest part was when that dude about blew his eye, just almost killed himself, honestly. Trying to show us young kids at the time, because I was a lot younger than I was than I am now.
Oh, these companies have these like rules where like they have to, because OSHA, they
OSHA
have to.
wasn't a thing.
No,
Back
I know,
then.
no, but like they have to say there's injuries or you know what I mean. Now they have like these 150 days without an injury, but it's like lots of injuries happen. They
No, they
just
just
don't
don't report
report
them.
them because if you report them, you're gonna piss off all the bosses
Oh
and get
yeah,
kicked out. Like
this
it's the
this
same thing as
previous company,
CNAs and factories and everywhere. They're not addressing these
this
problems.
previous company that I worked for had some serious injuries while I was there.
But the signs outside said
The
200
signs
days without
say,
injuries.
300 days, 300 plus days, whatever. That's because these like on my particular shift, the night shift, these managers and stuff would automatically run these people to the ER.
Yeah.
They wouldn't, and they run them to their people at the ER, so they wouldn't be reported as a workplace injury.
Yeah, as I'm saying.
They pay
These
for it. The
companies,
company pays for it
and
out of pocket and doesn't report
they
it.
have the same thing. Like, you could fall down as a nurse or a CNA, not a nurse, but as a CNA, if you're a lower end employee and you fall at work, they're like, you're fine. Get back to work. You know, you could literally have COVID and be sick, and they're like, you still have to come in. You know,
So
and I'm not in that
I
field.
want to touch
I
on the
know
COVID
that.
thing. I want to touch on the COVID thing.
Oh, COVID was so. We are never going to recover. Nobody even wants to talk about it, but at
I
some
want to
point,
touch on the COVID things. Hush.
people are going to need therapy.
So, essential employees. How many of you people were essential employees? I was. They tried to force me to mandate vax, and they tried to force me to wear a mask. I did neither of. But why was it only essential employees that had to go to work and everybody else didn't? And why was it the essential employees were the middle class and lower class?
Exactly. The
Upper
essential
class
employees
didn't have to go to work and put their lives at risk.
Yeah, if you work for corporate, if you were an accountant, if you were
Everybody else got to work
well,
from
that's
home.
not. I think doctors and nurses, but a lot of doctors did tele, or they
A lot of them did
sent the
telemed.
nurse in to tell the people.
Yeah, and they also, and I can attest to this because I was like one of the ground floor patients for COVID, even though I didn't have COVID. That they dressed like they were from outer space. They had the M2000 mask or whatever on, and then they had a full blown head shield on with a freaking air respirator that blew into their helmet with a full on bodysuit.
The crap always made me laugh when you told me all that, and then I went to the hospital and everybody downstairs was not wearing a mask.
Oh yeah,
And I'm like, nobody was wearing a mask, nobody cared, and then you get, it was just like anyone with COVID could walk through there, and that's when I realized like that was when we were in it deep, and I just realized that like if this was a real pathogen, like real like virus that spread in the air, everybody in that hospital would be dead or dying.
Well, it's really what sealed the fate for me for it not being a conspiracy theory and actually being true that they were making money off of people saying they had COVID, because I went into the hospital in early stages of DKA. And for those that don't know what DKA is, that's diabetic ketoacidosis. My blood sugar was over 800. And I went to the emergency room here in my local town. They told me once they started pumping me full of insulin, trying to get my blood sugar down, that they didn't have the ability to take care of me and that I had to be transported to a larger hospital in order to be properly diagnosed and treated. So they forced me into an ambulance that I didn't want to get into. Now, keep in mind, like the spike of COVID, that's when they started reporting all of these people being sick and dying. They transported me to another hospital who then put me on the COVID floor. I wasn't there for COVID, but they were damn sure going to expose me to COVID. So I get there and they put me in this room. There's no shower. They're coming in like they're space creatures from God knows where. I swear to God, the first doctor I saw had a double respirator like mask that had two respirators on the side inside of a helmet that pumped fresh air in. Okay, and a full suit with a big shield that went over the front of it. I asked repeatedly why am I in this room? Why do I have to wear a mask? I'm not here for COVID. It took them 3 days to move me off the COVID floor. The interesting part about that is they let my door stay wide open. So me being me, I'm going to get up and I'm going to wander around because
But
I
you
wanted
weren't in
something to
this
drink.
spacesuit.
No, I wasn't in a spacesuit. I wasn't even wearing a mask. But I was on a designated COVID floor. It had caution tape and drapes down and all that jazz, all that fun stuff. It's
madness if you logic.
So as I go meandering down the hallways, I noticed that every single door is open. And every single room's light was out. I was the only person
on that floor.
on the COVID floor.
Yep.
So after 3 days of being locked in essentially, for lack of better terms, a prison, they finally moved me to my own room that had an actual shower and a bathroom. That wasn't fun. I'm not getting into that story. But then I had to call my family members and have them bring me clothes, which is this beautiful lady right here.
So it took you 3 days before you could have a shower?
Yeah. 3 days.
I'm glad I didn't go in your room.
Yeah. Those poor nurses. They were pumping me every hour. They were coming in and drawing blood and then pumping me full of shit because I smoked. They gave me more patches on both arms. Yeah, big, long story. But so my wife comes to bring me clothes, and they make her put it on a cart.
They gave you nicotine patches to keep you from smoking cigarettes. But if you had COVID, they would not have given you nicotine patches.
No, they would try to force them to
your life. And this is probably not going to be able to be posted because we've already said a lot.
I don't really care. I'll post it. I don't give a shit. They would have tried to pump me full of remdesivir, trying to say that I had respiratory issues and then put that crap down my throat. But luckily, I smoked menthol cigarettes like a real man. And knowing what I know now, after doing my own research and not trusting the government, menthol tobacco in particular has been noted in several doctors' ledgers, whatever you want to call it, that menthol actually helped COVID patients.
I heard about tobacco, but I didn't know it was menthol.
Yeah, menthol in particular. Tobacco was a good one, but menthol really kicked it out.
Or nicotine, my bad.
Yeah, nicotine. Tobacco, nicotine, same shit. But we lost our sense of smell. I only lost it for 24 hours.
See, it reminded me of Lysol poisoning.
Yeah.
You lose your sense of smell, you lose your sense of taste. I don't know. It literally, if you've ever had Lysol poisoning, that is
or any kind of chemical burn in your nostrils, you lose smell.
And taste.
And
it can last like a week or two.
But during that time, it really dawned upon us that our soda pop was tasting more chemically.
Yeah, I remember that. And it's also about the time that we'd go into Walmart and we'd hear the
yeah.
And then the haunting part, that was me. When things were being thrown at me off the shelves.
Man, we were walking in Walmart down an aisle.
You don't have to tell people.
Oh, yeah, I'm telling people. We were walking down an aisle in Walmart, and she used to tell me that things would, pop out at her every now and again and scare the shit out of her. Didn't believe it till we were walking down an aisle in the toys section. You know how the playing cards are on the hooks, and that little hook goes up. So things, obviously, it takes a little bit of pressure to pull those things off. Hell no. We're walking down there, and these playing cards start flying off the shelf. Nobody in front of us.
Times.
Scared the shit out of me. We left Walmart.
Yeah. And then we went through the auto parts to get out because it freaked you out so bad.
Yeah.
But was it you? I thought it was you. We were walking down and there were games. Like, I don't know if they were Monopoly games or whatever, and they had them for like $5 and they were all lined up on that wall. And then like it came off the shelf and it fell off the shelf and landed in front of our cart. But there was nobody on that aisle. There was nobody around. And you were like, no, not again.
Yeah.
Is that you?
Too.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd have been more creeped out if it was an Ouija board game, but
no, it was like Candyland or something. But
I'm not playing Chutes and Ladders with a damn.
But it was like one of those side shelves, and it just like came off. The thing
that was
it
more
could be coincidental.
Than the playing cards.
Okay, but that could have been a coincidental. Okay, I'm not even saying that word right.
Coincidental.
But that could be just like, oh, it fell off the shelf. It wasn't on there.
That's easier to explain.
You could explain that away. But I've been having that kind of stuff happen to me for at least 15 years.
So as long as we've been married?
Longer than that.
I would hope so, because I didn't bring that bad juju here.
Well, I didn't have things thrown at me. I've had other things happen, but that really started. I think the first time I noticed it. I'm not saying it didn't happen before, but the first time I noticed it, I was at Reese's. But it also happened at the house when the DVDs flew off the wall.
And the chicken nuggets levitated off the coffee table.
Yeah, nobody's gonna believe this shit. So.
No. Hand on the
This
Bible.
is why I am the
happened.
reason why he really likes paranormal, and I hate paranormal because I've had to experience things. And I'm a Christian, and I pray that stuff away. And he's all like, "But why?"
I want to know the inner workings of it.
Why?
As a matter of fact, I'm actually talking to 2 different paranormal groups out of Oklahoma, trying to get them to do this podcast with me so I can get some of their stories for you guys. We're currently working things out. One of them has said that they'll get back in contact with me when work slows down a little bit and they have more time. So
I also get weird injuries. Like I had a thorn go through my fingernail.
yeah, it's legit stuck in her fingernail.
Like legit.
And short
thorn.
of ripping the nail off, we can't get it out. We're
Yeah.
having to let it grow out.
I have to let my nail grow out because the thorn went through the fingernail and into my finger. And I was just picking up sticks in the yard. Like I get weird injuries like that. Like, or I walk into a wall and bruise the whole side of my arm. I think that's ADHD and
That's clumsy.
a little bit of the EDS.
But yeah, so this is just a pilot podcast for this
my old Fitbit's watching.
for this podcast show. So we hope everybody's enjoying it. And like everything else, with time, things get better. Equipment gets better.
Conversations get better.
Conversations get better. Hope everybody enjoyed it. And maybe we can get back out here and do another one.
Mm-hmm.